What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video in the Ideal Auto Factory. Welcome in. Glad you're here. Today we're going to be talking about 5 RC drift secrets to tuning. Keep God first, and let's get into this video. Secret number 1, servo arm length. Most chassis kits come with the desired servo arm length that you need for the job to be done, getting your car built and drifting it. But not every servo has the same characteristics, and therefore your servo arm length can be played with. Go longer, go shorter, figure out which one you want, but just understand the basics. One secret to RC drifting is the servo arm length. What happens is shorter arms promote less wobble and also slower steering speed because it takes a longer time for the steering arm to reach full lock left and right. Of course, with a longer arm, this means the opposite. So a higher probability for steering wobble because it is a quicker distance to get from lock to lock, or a quicker speed to get from lock to lock. Therefore, you have a faster steering speed and a higher chance of steering wobble because the distance it takes for the steering arm to reach full lock is less. Secret number 2, which side your spur gear is on. Here are 2 chassis with the spur gear on the left side when looking from the front of the chassis. And here is a chassis with the spur gear on the right side when looking from the front of the chassis. Now, some chassis have a tendency to lift up the front end when throttle is applied, and other chassis have the ability to, or tendency to, lift up the rear when throttle is applied. Diving a little deeper into secret number 2, some chassis have the ability for you to swap which side the spur gear is on, giving you a different driving characteristic. But mainly think about your ESC. If your ESC does not have the ability to change the motor rotation from clockwise to counterclockwise, and the car is not going forward when you pull the trigger for throttle, then you may want to swap the spur gear to the other side to change the rotation mechanically. Therefore, in your ESC, because you don't have that setting, your car will now move forward with the spur gear on the opposite side. Secret number 3, and this one's a bit of controversy going on, but the gyro EPA versus the remote EPA. So as we know, in steering, you need your EPA to be set by the gyro when you first get your car set up so that you don't steer past that last bit of steering angle that you get here. Because if your servo pushes further, your servo could basically burn itself out because it's trying to turn more than this wheel or this wheel will allow it to turn. Now, once you set your gyro endpoints, once you set them here, you do the little left-right limit. Now, in here, your steering endpoint is set. So no matter what number you increase this to, the gyro continuously limits what's happening up here. So what does it mean for your steering EPA on your transmitter or your remote to be higher than what it is on the gyro? Now, hear me well. The remote EPA allows the gyro to have more or less speed of control over the chassis at higher speeds. Think of it like a 3-point line in basketball. Even though the minimum distance is set for scoring 3 points as 3-point line, the maximum distance is the full length of the court. So you could half court heave, you could shoot it from the 3-point line on the other opposing team's line, and then, you could possibly score. But pretty much having the ability to score further away from the basket gives you a larger range of scoring ability. All right, let's all face it. It's pretty much hearsay or kind of like pointless information unless you try it out, right? Unless you keep an open mind, maybe give it a try. I've tried it so many times because I have been, saying that there's no reason to have these super expensive gyros, right? But let's talk about all of the tuning aspects that you get from your ESC and so many other things. Your gyro does not have all of those capabilities. You get endpoints, gyro gain, and then that's pretty much it. So your EPA is also a tuning aspect, a secret tuning aspect that you can utilize if you want to try it out. But otherwise, hey, it's just more information. And now we're moving along to secret number 4, which is camber gain. Now, camber gain, while your car is moving, the camber in the rear of the car has the ability to basically change as the car squats. Well, it all depends on where the camber link is placed. This will allow you to have greater grip in certain aspects of the drift or a more consistent drifting experience overall. This chassis, as you can see, nothing happens when you push straight down. The camber remains constant. It does not move. But as soon as you lean to the left or lean to the right, the camber changes just a little bit. Let me show you on a different chassis. Here's another chassis, and again, as you can see, the camber does not change when I'm squatting straight down. But as soon as I lean left and lean right, there's a little bit of camber change there, as you can see on these wheels. It's all about where your camber links are placed. Sometimes you can angle them upwards, or you can angle them downwards towards the outside wheel, and that gives a different characteristic. Let's show you one that technically the camber changes just a little bit. So here's one. You see those links? They're more angled upwards. Still not much happening when you squat down. Very little camber change, and then a lot more when you lean left and lean right. A lot more camber change or camber gain. Secret number 5, FDR and motor turns. So FDR stands for final drive ratio, and it's basically a number that represents a certain wheel speed that can be achieved at certain RPMs of a given motor. It's your final drive ratio from the power being applied and how much RPMs it produces to the fact that the wheels are spinning a certain way. Final drive ratio. The lower the number of turns, the higher the RPMs of a given motor. So a 10.5T can achieve higher RPMs than a 15.5T. Here I have a 15.5T. Here means, to me, it owes me less RPMs, a little more torque, but we're not getting into torque and all that other stuff. Okay, so thinking of your motor turns and your FDR together gives a better perspective of what type of wheel speed you are able to achieve, which ultimately leads to a better understanding of how much grip you have while driving. So, okay, let's say both of these have the same FDR, but this is a 10.5T motor and that's a 15.5T motor. They won't drive the same if they were the same vehicle, because this being able to basically have less RPMs given across the total throttle range means that your wheel speed will be less than the wheel speed on this car, even though they have the same FDR. It's because the motor turns are different. Therefore, RPMs are different. It's another tuning aspect that you put together. They work together. They need to be thought about together or not thought about at all. There's people who don't care at all about FDR. They like a motor. They like They like a certain feel to the car, and it's achieved by saying, okay, small, big, bigger, smaller, and then done. All right, that was 5 secrets, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I have one more, and this one trumps them all. All the other 5 are great, but this one's the most important. Your setup, your chassis, your build, it's exactly what's right for you. What I mean by that is the more you drive, the more you mature into the RC drift community, the hobby, overall getting some seat time in, all of these little details become less and less important. Sure, you have your main, points that you want to hit when it comes to building your chassis and things like that. But ultimately, you just want to get out there, have a good drift experience, have a good time driving, get some tandems in, and then go home. All the little details, they're not as important. So with that being said, hey, support your local hobby shop. Get out there, get some seat time in. The less time on the table you have, the more time you're driving, the more time you're having fun. And of course, there's a time and a place for tuning, so do that too. All right, so if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you can know exactly when I actually release a video, right, in real time. And then, of course, like the video. Comment down below any secrets you think the RC drift community should know about. Maybe it's mechanical, maybe it's electronic, maybe it's just, your thoughts on what is commonly not accepted, but it's truth, or, controversial, or it's facts all the way around. Either way, let's just talk about it. Hey, let's do it. So keep God first. I'll end this video here. I'll catch you on the next one. Be blessed.